Hi everyone, welcome back to another Bitcoin update. And we've got some interesting news today. Over the past 24 hours, Trump actually paused his tariffs after Trump saw China increasing it on America, Trump doing it back to China, back and forth, back and forth. In the end, America's now put effective immediately a 125% tariff on China. But in the meantime, he has authorized a 90-day pause. Now, if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart and turn on global liquidity, it actually also calls for a reversal very soon. And if we take a look at this low, as it calls for, to this high point, we can see that the amount of days that pass is 90 days also. So we are seeing somewhat of an alignment. Now, I have spoken about this already on my Twitter, so make sure you're following me over there. I also made a 40-minute long video for the Discord community exclusive to them. So go ahead and check those out. So if we go over to the Twitter quickly, make sure you're following me, Louis_crypto. You can see it in the bottom left corner as well anyways. But yeah, we just noticed those key inputs, which is, of course, global M2 suggesting 90 days to get to a new all-time high. That is where you can see the 886 being flipped into support. If you've been following along with my updates, I've been suggesting that I will only flip bull once that is reclaimed, because once the 886 has been recovered, the reversal wave is created. Now you can't see too high, but the very first target after that would be 122k. I think there's a target 140k as afterwards as well. So once 105k is recovered, that is the expectation. Until then, we have to be very careful. Look, me personally, when I view this M2 global M2 chart or line, whatever you want to call it, we can see that it's completely ignoring multiple resistances along the way up. The rejections are very minimal, and this is something that I personally do not expect, because when you're trying to shift the trend, you have to actually listen to those resistances, short term reject them, and then build up once again, maybe a few days or weeks later, to go ahead and try and break that resistance once again. You can see the rejections are very, very tiny. So the global M2 is suggesting that in a 90-day period to get to a new all-time high, there's no time to waste. There's no time to reject these. So in order to noticing these factors, 90 days on the global M2, but also Trump giving a 90-day period where there are no tariffs, and seeing Bitcoin reacting bullish towards that in the past day, you'd argue, okay, 2 and 2 equals 4. Simple maths comes to the conclusion that this has to be the catalyst. 90 days to get up there, 90 days Trump has given. But yeah, for me personally, I just don't see how it's going to break through all these levels like butter. On the way down, we've been catching support. It can't break the first resistance. Found support again, can't break the first resistance. Found support, can't break the first resistance. Found support, can't break the first resistance. So if every time it bounces, the first resistance it finds, it rejects and then goes to new lower lows, how the hell is it going to break all of these? So the only way it's going to happen is if this is true, if this is going to be the catalyst, Trump stopping the tariffs for the next 90 days. So we will, of course, see as it develops, but I don't see any other way a move like this happens. This has to be the catalyst. Because technically, when I mean technically, I'm talking about technical analysis. The technicals say we should not be breaking every one of these resistance on the first attempt like you're seeing, or with such a small pullback. In these examples, you're actually seeing it's not respecting this in any way, shape, or form as resistance. It breaks through, turns it into support. Once again, there's resistance over here. It's just turning into support without actually rejecting. So remains to be seen how this will develop. I will be making updates, of course, as it develops further. But if I were to quickly remove this and we just look at the charts, we've got a current head and shoulders pattern over here, shoulder, head, shoulder. The target has already been met. So this calls for a reversal. That reversal also comes after maintaining our lows. You can see over here, this support area was maintained. So it also calls for a reversal. So not only meeting the target out of the pattern, but also maintaining the support. You can see a loss and then recovery. At the moment, this is just a retest of resistance, although we had that bullish factor we just spoke of, Trump pausing tariffs for 90 days. This has just given Bitcoin a retest of the neckline, which was previously support, now as resistance. So a great first step would be to recover this area. But what I was saying over on Twitter and in my Discord yesterday is that I need to see the 20 moving average and the 200 moving average recovered. So you can see there's an area of resistance currently where we are struggling to recover right now. That is why we saw the daily candle close stopping exactly at this level. So right now, even with this bullish engulfing pattern and these better conditions, we're also seeing this support was held. There are bullish factors, there are bullish points, but I want to see more. So there is also this trend line here. If we go through these body candle closes, that is also where we got rejected yesterday. So a lot of indicators or a lot of indications, this is a very hairy, very heavy resistance. Oh, why did I say that? I'm not even going to cut it out. That was jokes. But yeah, very heavy resistance. And it also needs to go ahead and not only break the 200 EMA, but also the 100 EMA. So that formed the bearish cross with the 55 over here. Very bearish signal. That's why we put in a new lower low. But we can't ignore, again, the pattern. Target was met. Usually in whatever trend it is, bearish, bullish, when a target is met, there's no more further expectation set. So reversal just makes sense. We also see that it was previously support and reacted to that. So these are your factors. You've also got this bullish candlestick. The next day was red and bearish, but you didn't actually lose that wick low. The day after, there was an attempt to lose that wick low, which was yesterday, and then the announcement that there's a 90-day pause that shot it right back up. So remains to be seen what will happen out of this. But because it is Thursday and tomorrow is Friday and the stock market shuts, I don't expect this significant breakthrough. In fact, if it actually happens tomorrow, it's such a signal that it should be a fake out. So if you do see tomorrow on Friday move up towards 85k, it should just be resistance, a fake out once again. Yeah, similar to what you see with these wicks, but maybe if we scale down on lower time frames, you can see the fake outs over here. So we want to avoid something like that. When a breakout happens on Friday, it makes a lot more sense that it is fake because the stock market shuts. There's low volume on the weekends, so it's hard to sustain a move that's just beginning. The momentum flattens out and dies. The others take over. So if we get a bullish breakout on a Friday and then the momentum dies, well, the bears are just going to step in, push price under that resistance once again. So I'm just not expecting this to sustain as of right now this week. Let's go again from next week and try again to break through this area. I would say 76 to 78k needs to hold in order to break this higher, 85k, 200 EMA. But yeah, I really need this whole area recovered. That would then suggest even more bullish statements, breaking the trend, breaking the moving averages downtrend. This would signal for a further move up. But once again, as I state at the beginning of the video and in all my updates, I'm technically bearish up until the 886 all the way up here is recovered, because only at that point do these targets truly become valid. All the way up, they are not targets until that's broken, then they become targets. This is just looking for the optimal conditions where we're not going to get fake outs on. So the optimal trading conditions where it's less likely to get trapped. That is what I'm personally waiting for to jump ship back to altcoins. Until that very moment, I'm going to keep DCAing Bitcoin business as usual with a recurring purchase on a daily basis, but also a much bigger buy at the ends of the weeks. that is just how I play it. So I'm constantly getting some, whether it's daily, weekly. Um, that is it from me today. If you're in considering some education, check out the website. I've got an ebook, teaches you at your own pace. You have that for the rest of your life. It's about 30, 40 pages long, teaches you the exact strategy, in fact, how to make money in a bear market. If you want to do the one-to-one mentorship, something more personal, one-to-one, private, then check the links in the description. I've also got a Discord community where, as I said, I posted a 40-minute long video in there exclusive to the members. And I also provide weekly group calls in there on top of all the exclusive analysis.